What is up, Killer Collective? Not Killer here, bringing you a Paradox Rift ETB video today. That's right. We are on our series collecting and the psychology behind it. Today we're going to focus on the power of pivoting. We're going to open up this ETB, the Jordan Parker one on the Friday night stream. Pulled out from the hitbox. It's just so happened to be Paradox Rift. Changes up the format a little bit. We're going to try something different with this video. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not, turn on notifications if you never want to miss a video. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. I hope you guys are excited too. Let's check it out. Gosse Fleur. Oh!
I knew there was...
Oh! Oh, no f***ing way, dude. I'm going to stay with you, Eric, so Steven can't kill us. Let's fucking go. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. Any day I can open an ETB is a good day, right? We should be happy. I'm also super excited we get to continue on these Monday videos. We're looking at the psychology of collecting and Pokemon, the hobby in general, as well as, you know, hitting it from an approach where maybe you can learn something, maybe even make your life better. So I've been loving the comments. Lots of people tell me they didn't realize that they were doing some of these things we talked about, or even just putting a name to it has kind of helped identify that in their lives. And it makes me really proud and really happy. So I hope you guys get something from these videos. I certainly do. It took me about 6 hours to research this, the topic of pivoting. Obviously I knew what it was. I just didn't really, you know, understand all the depth to it. And I even made a PowerPoint for the first time. So yeah, I'm just learning things all around. Before we open this Pokemon ETB for our boy Jordan Parker, we're going to talk about the actual topic. And so I think the new format's going to be we talk about the topic, we cover it in depth, because I noticed I was rambling a lot. Some of you said you liked the rambling, and there will still be some rambling. But I think if we talk about the topic first, kind of keep everything neat and tidy and clean, and then as we open the ETB, we can talk about how it affects us in the hobby. So let me know down in the comments if you like this new format better, if you'd like me to go back to the old format. I think it'll just be a little bit neater and cleaner, which normally isn't my style. So yeah, before we get into this, I also wanted to say there's a Twitter giveaway up right now. I'm gonna give away these 4 packs during tomorrow's huge giveaway live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will link the Twitter giveaway in the description, as well as I will pin it in the comments. And I'll also do the same for the link to the stream. It's going to be a good one. Giving away a Crown Zenith Sea and Sky box here. Giving away one of these Sam's Club bundles with the Paldean Fates mini tins. We'll give away this tin and Pokeball as one pack battle. And then the big boy, the Journey Together booster box. This looks like such a fun set to open. We were able to open 9 packs on Friday night stream, but I have not opened an English booster box in quite a while, so I'm super excited for this. This will be a member giveaway. But yeah, all right, the power of pivoting. You guys ready? I'm ready. I hope you guys like this. I worked hard on it. Took me a long time, actually. All right, the power of pivoting. Sorry, it's like 1 a.m. I've already recorded this multiple times and messed it up. I'm tired. I will do my best. Maybe this way, I mean, it's a good thing. Maybe I got a little long-winded on the last one, so we're going to speed through this a little bit. Oh, man. The power of pivoting. A different approach to the same goal. I think we've all pivoted in our lives. I will say that I thought there was only positive things about pivoting until I researched this video, so, you know, maybe we'll learn some stuff. What is pivoting? Pivoting is the changing of plans or expectations from their original design in an effort to complete a task or achieve a goal. Seems pretty straightforward. I think we've all pivoted at some point. We had a plan, didn't quite go exactly the way we thought it would, so we had to adapt and change and to still either reach our original goal or still find a positive outcome that maybe wasn't 100% what we expected. The perception of pivoting. There are positives, of course. Flexibility, adapting when plans change, right? Flexibility is an attribute that should be respected. Thinking on your feet, just having the wherewithal to know that there may be a time where you need to pivot, that you need to change your plan in order to get through whatever it is you're trying to do. Optimization, maximum efficiency. So I'm big on efficiency. Something I preach all the time. And one of the things about pivoting is you don't only have to pivot when you fail or when you find an obstacle. Sometimes things can be going exactly the way you wanted, but you take a second and you realize that you could be doing something a better way. Okay, that's another form of pivoting. Perspective, fresh take on things. So going through a plan, let's just start from the beginning. Creating a plan, having it not go exactly the way you thought forces you to look at a problem from a different point of view as you did initially, because maybe you're halfway through your plan, and now some of the options that weren't available to you in the beginning are now they're gone. The options you had when you made the original plan no longer exist, so you have to come up with an entirely new plan, or you're just forced to look at things from a different point of view, maybe even someone else's point of view, and that's how you gain perspective. Growth. Failure teaches us more. Okay, you learn more about yourself when you fail than you do when you succeed. And you may not completely fail at whatever it is you're doing. You may be forced to pivot to still complete it, but you're growing by going through that. You're growing by facing adversity and working your way through it. There are some negatives. Admitting your mistakes. Ouch, right? We've all been there. We've all had to tell ourselves that we fucked up. We've all had to tell ourselves that we were the cause of something not working out, whether it be something you didn't think about ahead of time, or maybe you aren't as skilled in an area as you thought you were. Maybe you misjudged something, and that can be tough. Self-awareness is important, self-reflection is important, and it's also difficult. So that's one of the that's definitely one of the negatives about pivoting. Sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror and be like, dude, this is your fault. Complacency, a crutch for mistakes. So people who pivot, obviously, they're having to find a different way to reach their goal. And once you do that enough times, in your brain, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you start to realize that it's okay that maybe you missed a step. It's okay that maybe you didn't plan for some sort of obstacle, because you know that you can work around it. And that makes us inefficient. It's okay, it's okay to pivot when needed, but if you are having to pivot every time, then there's an error in your planning. Settling or lowering your standards. Okay, first thing I think of with settling or lowering your standards is when it comes to relationships, right? Maybe you want to find yourself a husband who looks like a GQ model and makes $500,000 a year and donates his free time to the children's hospital. Okay, but then you start to realize, hey, maybe that's not going to happen for me. Maybe I need to date Joe Schmo who works construction and has to work overtime to have any extra money and doesn't even like kids. Okay, that's what I think of when I think of settling. And that's just forcing you to lower your standards, and it's forcing you to question whether you were even correct to want those things in the first place, or that maybe you're not good enough to achieve or deserve those things. And we're going to talk about lowering your standards, because it's funny, if you Google, is lowering your standards good or bad, you're going to get an insane amount of information. You're going to see four psychologists who say, lower your standards now for a better life. And you're going to see 8 businessmen who say, never lower your standards. It's actually a pretty divisive topic in the community. I know for me, when I was a kid, I was a dreamer, right? I always wanted more. I always wanted better. I always told myself, you're going to be big time, you're going to be rich, you're going to buy a mansion, you're going to drive a Bentley, you're going to do all this stuff. And then as I got older, I I stopped doing that. I started to be more realistic about myself, right? Like, I knew that I wasn't going to work for those things. I knew I didn't have the drive or the energy or the motivation, or maybe I didn't even have the wherewithal to achieve those things. And it actually made my life a lot better. So, I mean, I do see some benefit to lowering your standards, but let's look at the positives and the negatives. Adopting realistic expectations. So sometimes we expect too much out of ourselves, right? And if you are unable to recognize that fact and you are pushing yourself too hard and to ultimately fail, that can be hurtful. You can hurt your pride, you can hurt your ego, it can fuck with you mentally, because you just start questioning everything, right? You question, do I even deserve this? What did I do wrong? Am I a dummy for thinking that I even deserve this in the first place? So by adopting realistic expectations, you actually set yourself up for to not fail, right? To not just feel bad about yourself. Adjusting your concept of success. So it maybe started out with your plan that you only saw one goal, right? My only goal was to make $1 million this year. But by lowering your standard, and you know that it's okay, maybe I only made $500,000 this year. I wish. Maybe I only made $500,000 this year. That doesn't mean that you're not successful, right? Success is found in pushing yourself to do better. It's not necessarily in reaching your optimal goal. Progress, not perfection. So the fact that you tried, the fact that you learned, the fact that you tested yourself, all those things have value, not just being perfect. We all want to be perfect, right? It would be super cool if we never made a mistake. It'd be super cool if we set our mind to a goal and we achieved it without fail, but that's just not realistic. And if you can fail, but you can look back and say, hey, I learned, I tried hard, that's progress, and you should be proud of that. Negatives. Devaluing your effort. Okay, so let's say you did lower your standards. You tried really hard though, and you put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of money, whatever it is. By lowering your standards, it can be looked at that you're betraying yourself, because what was all that effort and time and money and energy for? Okay, you devalued all the effort you put into it by giving up. Now you have less incentive to try harder, because you know that you are willing to lower your standards and give up on that ultimate goal. What is going to motivate you now? What about the next time you go to do something? Are you going to strive for greatness? Are you going to reach for that optimal outcome? Or are you going to already know that you're a quitter, essentially? Are you already going to know that you gave in when things got tough? Now, this also has a negative influence on others. I always think of it as work, right? You're at work. You attempt to do your job to perfection. But once it starts to get tough, you say, well, I didn't do it perfectly, but what I did is good enough. That's something that's always driven me crazy, the phrase good enough when I'm at work. Because usually it's not. I'm not saying that in this situation. I'm just saying in general. Usually when you hear somebody say, that's good enough, it's because they didn't want to put forth the effort to do it right. And now if you're doing that, then the people around you are doing that, and they're saying, why the hell would I try my best and try to do a perfect job if this guy doesn't have to? And the same thing can be said for your kids. There's something to be said for always reaching for the stars, right? Always doing the best you can. That's a good example to set for your kids. I also think it's a good example to show your children that it's okay to not be the best, because the chances are that they're not going, there's some of your kids just aren't going to achieve a whole lot of insane things in life. It's okay to tell them that's okay. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to do what you need to do to make you happy. But even if that's not always constantly achieving optimal success. But by giving up and lowering your standards and things like that, your kids can pick up on that too. Like it's crazy the things that kids pick up on that you wouldn't even think. It's one of the scariest things about being a parent, right? I'm constantly like, when I say something, I'm like, damn, how did I just affect my children? Or they saw me do something, and I'm like, damn, how are they how are they viewing me right now, and how is that going to affect them later in life? It always scares me as a parent, right? And now when I see my kids have a problem with something or struggle or something, I'm always like staring at them, and I'm like, is this my fault? Did I do this? When you were 4, I didn't buy you a pony, and now you have emotional damage or something. You know what I mean? It's super scary, but it's still something to consider when it comes to lowering your standards. Should you settle? Okay, I think I don't think it's black and white. I think there's times when you should, and I think there's times when you shouldn't. But it's also very based on your personality. I think there's people who shouldn't, and I think there's people who should. So let's see which one you are. When things get hard, do you believe you'll work through them? Do you use hardship as motivation? When you fail, do you learn from that failure, and do you grow and improve? Okay, maybe you shouldn't settle. Maybe you're the kind of person failure doesn't bother you. Maybe you're the kind of person who, when things get harder, you try harder, right? Maybe you're the kind of person that just buckles down, bites down on something, and powers through. Maybe you're not the kind of person that gains anything from settling. But when things get hard, do you give up? Do you shy away from stress? Some people can't handle stress. Are you afraid to fail? I mean, I think generally most of us don't want to fail. I think that's pretty normal human condition. But some people are like super afraid of failing. They just can't handle it. They can't handle what it does to them emotionally. It's tough. It's tough for a lot of people. I don't like failing. I don't think anybody really likes failing. When you fail, do you shut down? There are people that when they fail, they shut down. They refuse to try whatever it is that they failed at ever again. They fail once and they're like, nope, I'm done. Never again. Maybe those are the kind of people who should settle. Maybe those are the kind of people who are just better off settling or lowering their expectations. And now my question for you is, how self-aware do you think you are? Self-awareness is hard. It's very hard. It's hard to read these questions and answer them truthfully. Sometimes self-reflection is hard. It's hard to see something. It's hard to read these things and then apply them to yourself, because generally we don't think that poorly of ourselves, and the way that we see ourselves sometimes isn't the way that everybody else sees us. So do me a favor. Go down in the comments and comment and let me know, which person are you? Are you person 1 or are you person 2? Take the time to think about it. Really, truly think about it. I consider myself to be more number 2. I do have, some parts that are number 1. I do trust in myself to work through things if they get harder. Sometimes pressure, I'm a terrible procrastinator, because sometimes pressure I just do super well under pressure. I also don't take failure very well. And if things get too hard, I just don't do it. And if it's too hard, I'll try it more than once. But if it continues to be tough, or if I continue to fail, I just give up. So it sucks to say, I consider myself to be more person number 2. So let me know down in the comments which one you think you are. All right, so pivoting to me is a mostly positive thing. Sounds great, Mountain Killer, right? Why don't we pivot more? It's simple. It's hard to admit your own failures. It's hard to admit your role in those failures. It's hard to look at yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and say, dude, you fucked up and you messed this up. It's difficult. We're quick, I think, to blame other people or outside factors sometimes, rather than taking the time to look inward and look at the ways that we can improve. It can be a tough task to ask of somebody, especially when there are those outside factors. Like, yeah, maybe your timeline changed for a job at work, right? Maybe you thought you had a week, but now you have 3 days, and you're like, dude, this is bullshit. But maybe had you worked harder in those first first 3 days, maybe you would have been able to complete it when the deadline changed to 3 days. It's just those kind of things. I'm not specifically saying that person would be to blame, but you have to look at your role in the failure and see what you can do to improve. Tunnel vision is real. People get hyper-focused on a plan or objective and fail to notice when pivoting may be the most effective course of action. All right, you make a plan, and in your mind, this is the plan I'm going to do, this is how it's going to work out, and this is how I'm going to reach my goal. Okay, but in almost every plan, there are times when pivoting may benefit you. Maybe you can find a way to save a little time. Maybe conditions changed a little bit, and now your original plan is not the most effective or efficient way of doing it. But there are certainly people out there who just get hyper-focused on the plan and the objective, and they refuse to pivot or look in any other direction. People often get so used to doing something a certain way that they fail to realize when an opportunity to pivot may be a positive one. Okay, I know this has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to some of you. Have you ever started a new job and people they're training you, right? This is how we do this. And you do it and you're like, dude, this is stupid. Like, there's a way to do this that's 5 times faster. Or there's a way to do this that doesn't require quite as much effort, or it uses better tools, or it's more cost effective, or something like that. I know it's happened to me all the time. I'm sure it's happened to some of you. But whoever that person is like, no, this is just how we do it. This is how we've always done it. This is how we do it. That's it. The end. Like, it's not up for discussion. This is just how we do it. Okay? That's one of the reasons that people don't pivot. A riveting conclusion on pivoting. Don't judge me for this title, okay? Remember that you may have been unable to reach your optimal outcome. That doesn't necessarily mean you failed, okay? Success isn't tied into perfection. Success is tied into effectively reaching a goal that, resolves whatever issue you had. In the event that you did actually fail, which happens, use the experience to learn and improve. Adversity builds character. You learn way more about a person or yourself through their failures than you do through their successes. People will tell you that all the time. Very successful people say they learn more from failure than success, because if you continue to succeed, you're never challenged. You never have that opportunity to look at things from a different perspective. You're never truly tested in a different way than you are just when you make your initial plan. There are many uncontrollable factors which may force you to pivot. Changes in time frame and overall objective may be out of your control. The need to pivot isn't necessarily a reflection on your level of skill or dedication. I have this problem at work a lot. I make a plan. Sometimes I even wonder why I make a plan, because things change so frequently that a lot of the time my plans are just null and void. But the thing about making a plan is you're just making an outline. And you should be able to change things within. It's a rough draft. A plan is a rough draft. At this point, you should know that most plans, something's going to change, and that's where pivoting comes in, and that's what leads you to be the most effective version of yourself that you can be. It's not your fault if things change, but don't use that as a crutch to blame when you do fail. Even the best laid plans fail, right? I had a boss, and he was like, we never plan to fail, we only fail to plan. Okay, and I agree. Like I said, a plan is a rough outline. But it's almost impossible to plan something out from beginning to end without any sort of variables in there. Now, having said that, you can still make plans with the idea that things are going to happen, right? You can say, this is plan A, but if this happens, we're going to get halfway through plan A, and then we're going to adjust here and kind of move into plan B. And then if something happens at this point in plan B, we'll adjust to the end of plan C, And that's, to me, that's the very most effective way to plan. It's the very most effective way to operate. Like, those are the people that I look for to be leaders. Those are the people that I look for to really succeed. All right, so you may be thinking, Mount Killa, what the hell does this have to do with Pokemon? And I'm going to start opening this ETB, and I'm going to tell you. So originally, I told you Void kind of pointed me in the right direction. And what he said was you should do a topic on the fact that, the example he gave me was that he has no interest in Paldean Fates, the set Paldean Fates, and he never did. But the fact that Aldi has these tins on sale for $8, he was like, man, maybe I should pick up 5. And so we were talking about it and trying to figure out exactly, how to name that. And that's where the pivoting topic just kind of blew up. It's a much larger scale, but it's definitely a form of pivoting. And in Pokemon right now, you have to be flexible. You have to pivot or you might end up with no product. All right, Jordan Parker. 9 packs of Paradox Rift. Congratulations. Like I said, he won this on the Friday night stream. He actually wasn't even there to claim, but because he's Inner Circle, he still won. So shout out to Inner Circle. The Inner Circle membership tier, one of the big perks of it. So, a lot of the things that we just talked about in the pivoting topic definitely apply to our time in the hobby. Like right now, I've been real bad about it, actually. I guess it could be good or bad. So I saved my money for new set releases, right? Hey, Professor Seda, what's up, baby? Tatsugiri, Dondozo, Trubbish, Dondozo. Ooh, Garchomp full art. Let's fucking go. Jordan Parker. Take that. So I've been trying to save my money for either like new releases or when I know certain products might restock, and then I don't get them, right? I'm having a hard time, just like I'm sure a lot of you are. Prismatic, I was like, damn, I got money. I actually have a little money to spend for Prismatic, right? A little more than normal. And then I just couldn't get it. I tried. I drove to Casper multiple days every week, which is 45 miles away from me. Waited at Target. I planned, right? She normally restocks on Friday. She didn't show up. Then the next week, she had restocked Thursday instead of Friday, so there was no product. So I was doing my best to plan, and I was doing my best to pivot. The problem is I just wasn't finding product to buy. So what did I end up doing, right? I have a YouTube channel. I have to open product for the channel. I have to have product for giveaways. What did I do? I spent the money on product that I didn't really want because I need the packs. And that's a form of pivoting. That's a form of settling. That's a form of lowering your standards. Okay. Now my situation is a little bit different because I do need it for the YouTube channel. But to people who don't, who just want to rip packs, is it actually worth it for you to lower your standards? Are you just looking to rip packs? Or are you so hyper-focused on opening Prismatic Evolutions or opening Journey Together or buying a Blooming Waters box? Wiglet, we got a Golden Go. Not bad so far, Jordan. So, I think the positive and the negatives of pivoting, I still think there's always positives to pivoting. I see the points of the negativity and like the negative points, they do make some sense if you use it too often, but I still think it's important to try for the optimal outcome, but not be hard on yourself if it doesn't work out and you do have to pivot. So maybe you ended up having to buy an Obsidian Flames ETB instead of getting that Prismatic Evolutions ETB you wanted. Did you still have fun opening it? Did you still get some cool cards? Did you get to do it with your spouse or with your children? I mean, it's really situational, and everybody has their own situation on how to apply that. So I do think that's one of the things, settling. I mean, sometimes it's best to settle. Sometimes you got to settle for that Scarlet and Violet base sleeved instead of getting that Journey Together. The problem is once we start to do it too much, it's just starts to get annoying. I don't mind settling once here and there, and I don't mind pivoting. Screamtail. And I don't mind pivoting when I need to. But when I start having to pivot or settle too often, it sucks. It hurts. It hurts the soul a little bit. It's like, damn, why am I even trying? So, I don't know. I hope you guys learned something from the topic. I hope you understand how pivoting applies. I know it's a bit more of a stretch. So, I mean, before the psychology and behavioral science topics we were doing were like investment kind of based. Like I looked at it as same way that people who are buying stocks would. because for a lot of people, that's what Pokemon is. Okay, I'm not in this hobby to make money, but I do take solace in the fact that my Pokemon stash is there in case I have some sort of emergency. And I was telling Void that the other day. I was like, I treat it like a blue chip stock. I have no intention to sell it because I know it's probably just going to keep going up. But it's good to know that it's there just in case. So I do kind of look at it from an investment point of view just because there is that factor. As well as, you know, when product's hard to find, we have to do the best we can with the finances we have. And so I was trying to look at it from an efficiency point of view. And it just got really hard to find these topics for that. So now I want to look at it more from like just more from actually psychology. Instead of taking a topic that applies to Pokemon and blending it together, I want to take a psychology topic that I think is important to identify and then add in a little bit of Pokemon stuff towards the end. Tulip makes me think of a joke. And the joke is, if you know someone that's looking for a job, you say, hey, bro, I heard about a job. They pay $20 an hour for planting tulips. And they're like, tulips? I'll do that. And you're like, yeah, tulips on my dick. Get it? Get it? Volcanion. Hey, you got yourself a Swablu. It's a cute card. It's just hanging with the Wingles. One of these is not like the other. And a Morpeko. This is an alright ETB. Not a huge ETB fan. We've only got 2 packs left. I don't think any of these cards is especially crazy. But illustration rares, just regular illustration rares, are going up pretty well. So maybe. And also Garchomp's a dope Pokemon. There's no Cynthia on there to make the perverts want to buy it. But Garchomp's pretty dope by himself. I don't know. Let me know if you guys like this video. I'm especially interested in the opinions of the people who have watched the other Monday videos. If you have not watched the other Monday videos, why don't you go give them a watch? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Just like I said, this is a lot more work. It took me a lot longer to do this, but if it flows better, I do think I was on topic a little more. I still did ramble a little bit. The problem was I had notes right on each slide. There were notes on the bottom. But when I turned it, like I sent it to my one laptop to the other, and then those notes just weren't there. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Garbodor, Bounce Sweet. Come on, last pack magic, baby. Come on, Jordan Parker. Last pack magic? Negative. I'm sorry, bro. Honestly, with our ETB luck, which is usually pretty terrible, that's not bad. That is not bad. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being in the inner circle. That's how you win free ETBs, baby. Just come to a Friday night stream every 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But yeah, if you haven't liked the video, please do so. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. We're trying to get to 6,969 subscribers so we can do a 24-hour stream. If you have any psychology topics you want to see discussed, let me know too. I'm always up for suggestions. Like I said, shout out to Void for even bringing this one up. It was funny. I told some of you guys this story on the live stream. There was a guy, and he messaged me about the videos, and apparently he's going to school to be a psychologist. He just asked if I had any like formal training. And I said no. I hope it doesn't seem like I do. I keep meaning to say that disclosure at the beginning of the videos. No, I don't. Obviously, and he also he recommended that I cite my sources, which I thought was kind of strange. He said it wasn't to check my homework kind of type thing, but he said it was so that people could do more research on their own. And I'm a little loath to do that because who says that the sources I'm using are even right? And when it comes to a lot of these topics that I'm covering, I mean, you should do a Google search of whether you should lower your standards or not. It's crazy. People are like, lowering your standards is the move. And people are like, never lower your standards. So I don't know that maybe What if I'm not even researching the right shit, you know? But then I'm going to give that source to other people. I think as with any topic, and I really stress this, with any topic, you need to do your own research. You need to read from multiple sources, okay? Like I don't take anything at I take almost nothing at face value. So if I read something, I'm like, hey, that sounds like it would be right, but maybe it's not, okay? And then I do more research. And I stress that to everybody in their lives. I know you see it a lot in like politics. People watch Fox News, they think that's the gospel. Then other people watch CNN and think that everything they say is correct. And throughout my life, I've found that a lot of the time it's somewhere in the middle. I'm not just talking about politics. I'm just talking about things in general. There are facts, right? I'm not disputing that the Earth is round. I'm not disputing that the sky is blue. I'm not disputing, scientific facts. But I do dispute, everyone has their own way of taking these facts and twisting them into their own agenda or, their own biases. Like everybody has biases. So I think it's super important that we all, I wouldn't say be skeptical, but there needs to be a sliver of doubt for pretty much anything you hear because you need to formulate your own opinion. You need to consult other sources. It's super important, okay? So like I said, if somebody watches this video, don't assume that I think I 100% know what I'm talking about. Like I said, it took me 6 hours to make this presentation. Do you think I learned enough in 6 hours to be an expert? I don't. So I hope you don't either. I hope you're just taking little tidbits of this information, and if they somehow make your life easier or better, then that's all I want. All right, before we go, remember, we got tomorrow's live stream at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Lots of goodies to give away. We got the Twitter giveaway. The link's down in the description. I will try to pin it in the comments as well. And then we have, don't forget about Thursday's giveaway video. Got my only Journey Together Elite Trainer box. Shout out to my main man, Danny Phantump there. I wouldn't have any Journey Together right now if it wasn't for him. So he sold his Fanny Special bundle. It was 3 booster boxes and an ETB for $350. Nobody else is doing that. So this man deserves all your love. Definitely shop at the Card Coliseum. Go subscribe to his channel. He's doing some amazing things over there. He's got a big member giveaway stream this week of Journey Together and Prismatic Evolutions. He's also got his Run Fanny Run channel where he is training for a marathon. For every mile he runs during training, he's donating a pack to be auctioned off, so all that money can go to mental health. It's super amazing, dude. He recently said he wasn't going to open any Destined Rivals for himself because he wants more people to be able to get to open it. I don't know. This man is a saint. And I'm not trying to meat ride him. I'm not trying to glaze him. I don't know, man. To everybody can see this stuff, but even behind the scenes, I see even more. So it's absolutely nuts. Please go subscribe to him if you're not. He's well on his way to 200,000 subscribers. He deserves it. I talk all the time about self-awareness and self-reflection and stuff like that. He is the king. He is the king of that. Like, it's nuts. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope you like this video. Have a great week. Make sure you grab this week by the cloister. I will see you for tomorrow's stream.